Welcome into the Steelers Talk mailbag here for the bye week, week 5 for the black and gold. I'm going to be answering your questions on this football team here after a 3-1 start and, as we look forward to the Cleveland Browns game in week 6. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to join the most interactive Steelers fan community anywhere here on the YouTube platform. We go live twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. At 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We film our mailbags during the Thursday live show, and then we go live for every single Steelers game as well, where we interact with the crowd. We react to the game together. We have almost 100,000 subscribers already on this channel, guys. So if you want to join the family, join the largest community of Steelers fans anywhere here on YouTube, click that subscribe button right now, and let's get into your questions. Starting with Electric Divergent, says, do you think the new idea on O-line is sustainable? Yes, I do. I know that Mark Caboli and some others have said, it was just a game plan specific thing for Minnesota. I really hope that's not the case because plain and simply, guys, for this Arthur Smith offense to work, you got to get defenses to respect the run. And the first 3 weeks, when they weren't doing the jumbo formations, teams were not respecting the run game. When they had Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth getting legitimate starting snaps, neither of those guys were blocking at a good enough level to sustain a good run game. And we saw the results in the first 3 weeks. The run game was terrible when those two guys got a lion's share of the snaps at tight end. But then they make that shift where you got Spencer Anderson as a kind of elephant tight end, and then you got Darnell Washington, who's almost as big as an offensive lineman himself. And all of a sudden, defenses are now going to have to deal with 7 players above 280 pounds that can run block. Like Spencer Anderson can move as well. Same thing with Darnell. That is going to be something that can get defenses to suck up their safeties, pause, to single high and zero high looks to try and stop the run. And that's the way you can get Aaron Rodgers in this passing game to throw the ball downfield more. Big reason why Aaron Rodgers and this team is not throwing the ball down the field is because teams are just living in too high safety shells. All right, and that's what we've been seeing the first 4 weeks of the season. And, we saw on film in that Week 4 game, and the rest of the NFL saw in that Week 4 film, can't do that shit anymore with this 7 offensive line formation that the Steelers have brought out. So if the Steelers are smart, they're going to keep doing that to be able to, earn that respect in the run game from other teams, which is going to open up the play action game, which is going to open up, deep passing opportunities. So I do think it's sustainable, Electric Divergent, and I think that it can only mean good things for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense moving forward. I think it's their winning formula. Then we get to Kevin Reed, says, I think Roman Wilson could break out as wide receiver 2 while Calvin is out. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you this, Kevin. I think the opportunities to get some deep shots to Roman Wilson will be there over the next few weeks, all right? Because like I said with our first question here, I think defenses are going to be playing the run a little bit more aggressively against the Steelers, especially when they go to those jumbo formations, which is going to open up some opportunities for DK Metcalf and then whoever the deep threat is on the other side of DK. Could be Roman, could be Scotty, we'll see. But there's going to be opportunities, one-on-one coverage down the field off of play action in those jumbo looks that I think Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers are going to take advantage of here. So, I think Roman Wilson, I think he's got the skill set. I always have. I think he's got speed. He's got great acceleration. He's got good hands. He's a good run blocker. There's a reason why this team took him in round 3, but there's also a reason why he hasn't played a whole lot to this point in his Steelers tenure, and it's probably because they don't trust him all that much. So we'll see what happens, Kevin, but I'm definitely rooting for Roman Wilson. So let me know what you think down there in the comment section. Your confidence level in Roman Wilson at this point in his NFL journey. Scale it from 1, meaning no confidence at all, he's terrible, to 10, meaning he's going to break out, he's going to be awesome. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For today's pinned question, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time. But give me a number between 1 and 10. Got one from Eric Gender here, says, we are number 1 in the division, go Steelers, but Jack, how you feel about our chances as a top 3 seed in the conference? I'm looking, we can arguably be the number 1 in the conference by the end of the season. I think most people expect the Buffalo Bills to be the number 1 team in the AFC by the end of the season, but the AFC, I don't think it's being dominated by the top quarterbacks the way that people kind of expect going into every single season. Like every year, people expect Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow to dominate the division, to make the playoffs, dominate, do all these different things. But Lamar's team is 1-3, and Lamar's injured. Burrow is out for multiple months. Mahomes' team is 2-2, and then the Bills, they're rolling right now. They got a 99.9% chance of making the playoffs, and honestly, they're the favorites to be the number one. But, I think that the Steelers can certainly compete with anybody in the AFC right now, all right? I think some really important litmus tests will be when this team plays the Colts, when they play the Bills, when they play the Chargers later on down the schedule here. But certainly, I think that this team, especially if they can keep up the run game, especially if they can open up the deep passing game a little bit more, if they can maintain the yards after catch stuff in the short game, if they can get the defense and the pass rush in particular to continue to be as successful as they've been, they could be one of the best teams in the National Football League this year. Full stop. Then we got one from Justin, $5. It says, what role do you think Ja'Whaun Bentley will play in the rotation after the bye? It's a good question, Justin. I don't know if I have a real great answer for you because we just don't know, right? You've got a pretty decent trio of linebackers right now. You got Patrick Queen, you got Peyton Wilson, you got Cole Holcomb, and they brought in Bentley because, Peyton Wilson didn't have a great start to the season. They weren't 100% sure Cole Holcomb was going to be able to step up into that quote-unquote thumper role that Landon Roberts played for this defense last year. But Bentley is a lot like a Landon Roberts. So if they want to go back to that kind of early down, put a thumper out there, then put the athletic Peyton Wilson out there on later downs, they could certainly do that. But then versus the Vikings in week 4, Wilson had a full 3-down workload. So they might be back to just doing that full time. So I'm not exactly sure where Bentley fits inside the rotation at this point, but I'm sure they'll find some sort of role for him to fill. And then, hey, if there's an injury, you still got a really good rotation to hang your hat on. Then we got one from Joseph, says, which top prospect college quarterback would you like to join the Steelers? I think there's a good crew of guys right now that I would at least be open to at this point. I think a fantastic setup would be getting somebody that might be a little bit rough around the edges, might need a little bit of time to sit behind a veteran. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers maybe comes back for another year. That would be nice so that you could have a guy just sit behind him for a year, someone like a Lenore Sellers, somebody like maybe a Sam Levitt or a John Mateer, somebody that maybe isn't all the way there yet, but can learn for a year behind Aaron Rodgers. I think would be phenomenal. A great setup, but those guys have to come out. Those guys can all go back to school. So it's going to depend on which quarterbacks come out, but there's certainly a number of guys that I would consider. And if you're looking for somebody that can start day one, Fernando Mendoza would probably, I think he might not be great right away, but I think he could be serviceable right away. Dante Moore out of Oregon has shown some really nice things with the Ducks so far. And then even Ty Simpson from Alabama. I think he might be the most impressive college quarterback in the country to start this season. He had a great performance against Georgia. He's had a lot of drops, and he's still completing around 70% of his passes in a pro-style system that asks him to go full-field progression reads. He's a 5-star athlete with a great arm. I just don't know why, people, I don't understand why Ty Simpson isn't getting talked about more in these conversations. It's probably because Mac Jones and Tua and Bryce Young, Alabama quarterbacks, haven't been fantastic in the league. But listen, man, good film is good film, and I think Ty Simpson can play. Before we get into the rest of our questions here on the Steelers Talk mailbag here, you and I both make decisions every single day. But on the Prize Picks app, which you can download for free today, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Football season is finally here, and you better believe I'll be getting my Prize Picks lineups in all season long. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks also puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks also offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And a new feature from Prize Picks that I absolutely love is injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count that as a loss. So for week 5 here, I'm taking the more on passing yards for Justin Herbert, the more on receiving yards for Quentin Johnston, and the more on receiving yards for Zach Ertz. You guys can download the Prize Picks app today on your phone for free and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Yinzer Joe says, Jack, do we feel like the defensive tackle position can be upgraded? Benton isn't good there. Maybe sign Wilkinson. Nah, not Wilkinson. Right now, Yinzer Joe, I would say if you want to bring in a defensive tackle, probably someone like even Linval Joseph, who's ancient, but at least he can just stand there in place as a nose tackle. But honestly, Yinzer Joe, I think the Steelers kind of found their winning formula on defense. We talked about their winning formula on offense with those jumbo looks. But something that they did versus Minnesota that I really loved is instead of their normal 5-down fronts that they've been running the first 3 weeks of the season and what Mike Tomlin is kind of known for, they went to a very 4-down front heavy defense versus Minnesota, and they threatened to blitz lots of guys. Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Deshaun Elliott. They blitzed Elliott 20 times versus the Vikings. Like, they were really blitz heavy in that football game, and Carson Wentz had no idea who was coming, who was dropping into coverage. That forced Carson to hold on to the football a little bit longer, which led to more sacks. And of course, this pass rush from Pittsburgh can get the job done. So I think Benton is a much better fit inside that 4-down system where he can be more of a gap penetrator, that sort of thing, as opposed to a true nose tackle where he's asked to 2-gap and do those types of things. I don't think that's a good fit for his skill set. But now that they have shifted to that 4-down front style of defense, Benton, I think, has actually looked pretty darn good, and I think he's probably the other starting defensive tackle alongside Cam Hayward at this point. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are a real one, really do appreciate your guys' support. And if you guys want more content like today's, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. Really does help out the YouTube algorithm. It tells this platform to push this video in front of more Steelers fans like yourself. So if you want a free and easy way to help out our channel and you appreciate the work that we do here, giving you guys multiple Steelers videos a day, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon right now. Then we got one from Zoop08, says, if the Steelers would trade for a wide receiver, do you see them doing it next week or late this week? I mean, honestly, this is going to be coming out probably on Saturday, maybe Sunday. And, I mean, at this point, if they haven't made a move up receiver, I don't think they're going to, because, like, it makes sense to bring on somebody early on in the week on your bye week so that they have a 2-week window to ramp up. I just don't think at this point it makes a whole lot of sense to add anybody. And I think it speaks to the somewhat, first of all, Calvin Austin's injury is probably not that serious. And then 2, the level of confidence that Aaron Rodgers and this Steelers offensive coaching staff has in Roman Wilson, in Scotty Miller, and Ben Skoranek, and maybe Isaiah Hodgins to hold up the fort until Calvin gets back. I will say this. I know Aaron Rodgers really likes Scotty Miller as a route runner, and, I think that, in terms of replacing Calvin Austin III's role in this offense, Scotty can at least adequately fill that role, but also Roman hopefully can fill that role pretty adequately as well. So I don't expect Calvin to be out very long. The next 2 games for the Steelers, the Browns and Bengals, very winnable ball games with or without Calvin in the lineup. So honestly, Zoop, if you're getting your hopes up that they make a move at receiver, I would probably temper my expectations. Then we got one from Kevin. He says, do you think they'll use Caleb Johnson more in Cleveland and Cincinnati games? Honestly, no. I think they'll use him less. Jalen Warren's going to be back. Kenny Gainwell's coming off a big game. They're going to want to use those 2 guys. Maybe as the season goes on, there's an injury to one of the starting running backs, and Caleb gets an opportunity to play more as the season goes on. But honestly, as long as Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell stay healthy, and as long as those 2 are playing good football, Caleb's not going to get any opportunities in this offense. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Will Caleb Johnson get more snaps? F. Ponzi in the chat for the double wills there. Get more snaps as the season goes on. Give me a yes or a no. And, of course, type F. Ponzi for getting the graphic wrong. All right, so is that going to be it for questions today, Ponzi? All right, that's going to be it for today's show. Thank you so much for stopping by here. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.